Hi, everybody. Josh, Alvin, how we doing, everybody? Let's do this.
Oh,
Yeah, John, how you doing?
good, man. How are you?
Man, thanks for joining me today. How you doing today on a Monday, May 12th?
Doing well. It's a whole lot of busyness. I had some podcasts already today. Talked to some people. Talked some pitching. Talked some sequences. Tough. Just been working on a lot of really fun things. Hopefully, when this situation changes and we can get back outside, we can have some live at bats, which is pretty much the most fun thing anybody could ever do.
Yep.
I think the live at bats are more fun than the actual game of baseball, but I'm a little bit biased because I'm a pitcher, so that's the only thing I ever want to do. So what are you going to do?
Yep. Well, I was just thinking about what you were saying about talking about sequencing and doing podcasts, and how cool is it to go to work every day and do something that you love to do? I mean, that is something I actually talk to a lot of my kids about, is chasing those dreams for as long as you can and never give up on them, and make sure that when you have yourself a job that you're going to a place that you love. So kind of sounds like you love what you do. Just fill us in exactly. What do you do, for my gang and for your gang as well, John, Cutter Nation? When I go to your website, I see cutternation.net, throw hard, throw straight, pain-free. So just peel back the curtain, man. What are you up to day to day?
So founder of Cutter Nation Baseball. We have apparel, like these awesome hats, as well as a YouTube channel and stuff in there. But in the way that the game is the way it is these days, I want to create an experience that I wish I had at the ages, with all of the technology and all of the cool stuff. I was obsessed with baseball, and I feel like that all I ever wanted to do was play the game, and it was more and more fun the more I did it. And so I resonate way more with the specialization crowd of when it comes to the game, because the game provides so many opportunities to do games within the game or other things that are based around the game to accomplish some of these athletic feats. To me, throwing seems to be the only idea that you don't practice to get better at in some people's eyes. And it doesn't make sense. Like, the best throwers in the world that I've ever seen and the best throwers that I've ever played with threw all the time, and they were really good at throwing. Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about pitching. We're talking about throwing. So, with a little short history of me, I'm from Northwest Florida, went to a junior college, unrecruited, state accolades, but didn't know what I was doing. Didn't know to reach out. Didn't know to go to the perfect game tournaments. Went to a couple showcases, but the school that I was told was they'll find you, and they did not. That is false. They did not find me. So I walked on to a junior college in Pensacola, Florida, about an hour from where I'm from, into the Lions Den, where the last year of draft and follow. That conference was there. So it's a rather interesting story. I ended up getting dropped down to throw sidearm for a year, and then I got released. I was told I was too smart to play baseball, and then went to a Division II school in the same town, which I will not mention, but basically I was told there was nothing wrong with my arm, and I'm a big fat liar, but way more of an adult version of that. And so 2 surgeries and 3 years later, I did not. I was not a big fat liar. There was a 85% involsion fracture in my elbow, which means I threw a pitch my senior year, and I broke the hook of the ulna right here. And so it was from terrible throwing mechanics, straight up. So that sparked the obsession. I felt like I had tasted a little success in my first year at the Division II school. I was throwing over the top. I turned into the number one. I was throwing hard. Don't know how hard I was throwing. This is back in 2007. We best record in school history, conference championship, all kinds of fun stuff. Made it, to regionals. Almost made it to the World Series. Didn't work out, but I felt a little robbed because between summer ball and facing my teammates, and when I pitched, when I was on, nobody hit me. So after the first, it was a weird situation to where I was told the wrong information about the original diagnosis of my elbow, and I didn't accept the information for what they said. I've got some physical therapists in my family, and they told me there was nothing wrong with my arm originally without doing a scan. I had already self-diagnosed the fact that I could not do two things. I could not throw. Literally, as soon as I raised my arm and it got to that cock position, it hurt, and I couldn't run. Those are the two activities that I couldn't do. So I knew there was something weird going on. And this is back in 2000. Let's see, it was 2007, yeah? I think, yep, 2007. I'm pretty sure 2008, something like that. No, I'm sorry, 2000. My bad, 2009. 2009 is when the injury happened. I'm sorry. It was my third year at the school. It just turned into a giant mess where, do your 6-week protocol of recovery and follow everything from your trainer and the physiotherapist to.
Losing you. Sorry, I lost you for a sec. We're back.
You there?
I think I'm there. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi or yours. I'm not sure. Hello, Josh. Thanks for following in. Davis, everybody who's tuning in. We got John here from Cutter Nation. So, yeah, you were. It was 2009. Pick up right there.
Yeah, so 2009, I threw a pitch in Alabama and broke my elbow. Didn't know it. We didn't get a proper diagnosis, for an MRI at least for another 2 months. The doctors normally when you have an arm injury, an elbow injury, it swells up, especially with like a ligament. And mine swole for like 36 hours, and by the time we got back from the road trip and we got to the doctor, because it was like a stress fracture, basically nothing was out of place. I didn't have the same swelling that other guys did. So it was a little bit of confusion, very conservative outlook, but I was trying to get an MRI right away. I heard a click and was very adamant about it. But long story short, I ended up having 2 surgeries in 3 years and just never gave up the idea of throwing. So they had to put 2 screws in, and they had to move my nerve. And then that really started the journey of when I couldn't throw, I just started doing tons of research online and started coming up with some of these ideas on the principles that I have now, because there's certain things that happen in throwing. Like there's people that have played massive major league careers and never been on the DL for their arm. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that especially with pitching, as we are as much as a velocity development facility, the number one thing you have to factor in is health. Yeah. If you throw 95 miles an hour and it's killing you afterwards, one, you're doing damage to your body. Number 2, you can't sustain that velocity, so it's going to do damage even worse the more you go. It's not a smart idea to throw the ball and have it hurt at the same time. It's just not. So, we pride ourselves on trying to help people learn how to throw, pain-free and do everything we possibly can to understand a couple things. Number 1, having a strong arm is not that hard. It's not that hard to have a strong arm. Matter of fact, I would say that having a strong arm might be the most important part of playing baseball, especially at a young age, because if you can't throw, you can't play the game. Sure. You can't, right? Hitting is one of the hardest skills in general, right? But just to get on the field, if you can't throw from left field to second base, you're not going to play. It's just not going to happen. So the fact that we don't treat the velocity of throwing in a way that makes sense, like here's an Another example, right? 13-year-olds, 300-foot field. What's the farthest throw they might make on a 300-foot field?
I mean, maybe left field to third base. So what is that? I don't know. Or right field to.
You mean right field?
Right field to third base. Oh boy, that's a tough math question this early in the morning.
Let's conservatively say 200 feet.
200 feet.
200, right? And it wouldn't hurt to make sure that every athlete on your team could throw 200 feet, right? That would be a good measure, right? You could be like, okay, well, we need to pick up the arm strength. And so when you see some of these throws that are made like that from outfielders and long toss and other things that we know that actually develop velocity, I don't think from an early age that this fear mongering of you're going to get hurt as you go is taken in a very strategic way to safely go about it. Because I just don't think it's that hard. If you throw it, it hurts, you're doing something wrong. Your body has an internal system of regulating what you're doing, whether it's right or wrong, good or bad, and it hurts or doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it's good. These are all great points, and you live through it, so you can teach it because you've lived through it. Let's break it down. Like I'm a newcomer to the game of baseball, and I want to start throwing the baseball correctly without hurting my arm, without having to rupture my ulna. So let's start at the beginning there for that youth baseball player just starting out. What is something you work with your young kids on just to make sure they're getting off on the right track? And then we'll move on down the line. But start me off at the beginning.
So with a lot of the things that we do at our gym is we try to gamify as much as we can, especially with young kids. It's new to the baseball community to throw a baseball into a target in front of a radar gun all of the time, right? It's just new. But at our place, we have double throwing lanes. We have drills. We're a constraint-based program, which means that we will put you in some of these drills. One of the ones that people like is called the K drill, which is where you stand on your back foot, you make your arms look like a K, and then you push off and throw the ball. Well, one thing that I think is the understand as a kid, right? And the parent, this is for the parent from day one. You have to teach them how to throw the ball where they want and fast. Mm-hmm. And fast is relative, right? It doesn't have to be fastest, just has to be fast, right? And it needs to turn into a game. It needs to be, how far can you throw it to my chest? Can we, if you hit it here, we do a very fun game called a level up game, right? It's a very easy difficulty understanding, right? You start off maybe 20 feet, 25 feet away from the target. We have a box. You throw it in the box, it's 1 point. You need 3 throws in the box to level up to the next level, right? And as the game goes, you can add more variables to it. I can say, hey, James, you know what? I noticed that when you aim the ball, you lose 8 miles an hour. So here's what we're going to do, James. You have to have a speed limit of 55 miles an hour and throw the ball in the box. Otherwise, it doesn't count. Okay? So now you have to, now I got to try to throw hard, right? James, nobody's counting the percentage of throws that you make if you miss. The only thing you need to count are your successful throws. That's it. It doesn't matter. Grip and rip. Just go. Okay? James, you got it? How hard does that sound?
Sounds easy. Sounds fun, too. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a bunch of mini games, we call them, that we bring to try to create competition. One of the other ones we do is a strike competition, and this is where you can play against yourself. We love it playing against other kids their own age, or even not their own age, right? I've had a college kid lose to a 12-year-old in a strike competition, right? Because all we did was make sure the distances are correct. We gave them a 3-mile-an-hour window on their fastballs and what they were trying to do, and it was the first to throw 3 strikes. Yep. And so if you create the situation, then on the other side, you can create the anxiety complex of bases loaded, 3-2 count, 2 outs, runners are moving, you got to throw a strike, otherwise you lose, just by having a simple rebuttal system. Yep. So if you and I are competing, if you go first, right, and you're the first one to 3 strikes, I automatically get at least 1 rebuttal based on my score count, and now I can hotshot basketball back into the game, and we got a chance for a Hail Mary to go 1, 2, 3, now we're back in.
I love it. Well, you're bringing in a lot of things. The first thing I hear is just the competition, and kids really are attracted to competition. I don't care if I'm doing push-ups or trying to hit the ball out of the infield, or I'm doing sit-ups, whatever it is. Kids love that competitive action. They love to try and beat people that are older than them. They love to try and beat their coach. So I love that part of it. So let's move up a step. Let's say now we're maybe 12 years old, trying out for that travel ball team, or maybe trying out for that middle school team. We talk a lot about legs, especially at a young age, just teaching the legs to do all the work. Dial me in with the information you give from a physical standpoint to your kids to teach them not to be using all arm, but instead go legs, and how do you compute that?
Yeah, so I'm a little different on this idea also. So what's cool about Cutter Nation is my partner and I are very yin and yang. I am not the mechanical leg guy. I am way more of the feel and principle idea guy, which makes my partner, Cass Kreitlow, incredible to talk to, and he challenges me every day on these ideas, but it's for the best, because the ultimate idea is what we're trying to do is help people become the best versions of themselves. Mm-hmm. It doesn't, we tell people velocity matters, but it only matters to you because you can't throw the ball for someone else, right? So you need to care about what your abilities are more than what somebody else. It is entirely okay to respect somebody else's abilities on what they're doing, but you should be focusing on yourself. So I like to break it down to this simple idea: is creating momentum in a direction that allows you to rotate to throw the ball. That's what we like to talk about.
So pause. I always have my kids bring their notebooks at the Sandlot and write important stuff down. Sevi, water slide, ZV slugger, all my kiddos that are here, get the pen, get the notebook, and just repeat that if you could there, John.
Well, to create energy and to create power on the mound, you're trying to create momentum in the direction that you're going in a way that allows you to rotate and throw the ball with power.
Good. So let's break that down and kind of unpack that just a little bit. I'm tall over my back leg, and I want to create some momentum towards the target. That way I can rotate the what exactly? Now go to the rotate part. I get I'm going momentum, so tell me about rotate.
All right, I got a great one for you right here. So the position that we call throwing is a little bit different than other guys also. We use what we call the gun, right? And the gun is basically an extended front arm, just like where you had it, a little bit further away from the body, and then your throwing arm relaxed down by your side. Uh-huh. Now what this does is it creates, see how that kind of looks like a pistol right there, right? So when you get to that position, there's 3 rules of throwing what we talk about that can actually help you understand why you miss, right? Number 1, when you rotate, both hands have to move at the same time, at the same rate, in the same direction. That's the first one, right? Mm-hmm. So which means the glove needs to come down when the hand comes up. I actually noticed that you flipped your thumb first. But when we look at movement, flipping your thumb delays the rotation of your arms. So, James, your arms are actually connected. Did you know that?
Yes.
Your arms are actually connected. The problem is we think in hemispheres. So when we think in hemispheres on our left side and our right side, we think that they can independently move. They can to a certain point, but they're still connected to your torso, which is through your shoulder blades and your collarbone, right? Mm-hmm. So let's do this, James. This is how we want to feel rotation. Cross your arms for me like this right here. Okay? And what we want to do is take our throwing shoulder and rotate it slightly away, Mike Tyson style, away from our target, and then twist into our throw as far as we possibly can. Keep going. Twist. Okay, so see how you stop right there? There's more range of motion to that, James, right? Over-rotate your back foot and feel is what happens. See what happens? You just went further.
Yeah.
You went further, right? Okay, so this is what boxers do when they punch. They over-rotate their back leg, and it allows them to rotate forward.
I start to feel it back here.
Exactly. Now, that is what some people call the hip or the glute when they're in it right there, right? So our 3 rules of throwing from the gun, which we're talking about, so when we separate, we go to the gun. We have both hands move at the same time. So the glove goes down, the arm comes up, Both hands never cross, and both hands pass your glove hip. I can't tell if you're a lefty or a righty right now.
Yeah, so I'm a righty, but it always looks backwards. I look like a lefty.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Right? So let's just take the idea of with your arms crossed and twist your shoulders as far as you can real quick to your throwing side, right? Yep. Go all the way around. So do you see how far your throwing shoulder can get to right there?
Yeah.
So if you can get to that same space with your arm where your arm goes past your body, now when we talk about deceleration patterns, if you give your arm the most amount of space and distance to follow through, you give your arm the best chance to recover and have the most amount of time to decelerate.
As opposed to maybe just kind of putting on the brakes too early.
Putting on the brakes to it, or stopping square to your target, right? If you stop square, so let's just do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Right? Stop. Now let's think about all the energy going into that throw, right? And your chest stays square to me. Take your throwing arm and go past your hip. What happens? It hits your body.
Yep.
Now imagine that at 100 miles an hour. What are you going to do to your arm?
Yeah, it's going to be like a car crash.
There's going to be damage. So I think a lot of people that are having these elbow issues, they're taught to finish square, especially in the States, because you have to finish square to field your position. It's not a real thing in the rest of the world, right? The rest of the world doesn't care about how you finish. They care about how you follow through and how you execute your pitches. So, there's like I said back to the beginning, there's the mechanics debate, and then there's a fundamental idea and principle debate. And that's where I like to live in this principle, strategy, understanding what throwing actually does and how to win at throwing. Because that's all we're trying to do.
Well, I mean, it's a big debate, and I'm always kind of questioning it myself when I'm teaching a pitching lesson. Why are all these kids getting Tommy John? What's the deal? And let me just ask you that question, because I can see what you're one of your main things is range of motion and that fluidity and freedom of the arm. So what's been causing all these Tommy Johns?
I think the first thing that I will say about Tommy John is that, especially after what I learned, I know that baseball players are psychopaths. It's literally the reason why I broke my arm. And so I think the first thing that happens to everyone, or you don't, there at some point in your life, your arm starts to hurt. You tell your coach like they tell you to, and what do? They put you on the bench. They immediately shut you down, right? Oh, he hurt his arm. He's got to go over here. Well, I don't think we understand exactly what that signal is. And we should go back before that and understand that if the kid said something then, that's not the first time it's happened, number one. And number two, that is probably the highest intensity that probably happened, right? And so I think we have to understand and make sure kids need to know from the beginning that sometimes you're going to make throws that don't feel good. That's your body telling you didn't do something correctly. We don't know what that something is. It could have been that your arm was dragging. It could have been that your arm was banging into your body. It could be that you're slowing your hand down through release. You could be squeezing the ball. You could be holding pronation. You could be holding supination. You could be so mental on it that you let go way too early. You could be way too late. There's too many things.
Pause.
You know what I mean?
Sorry, I one of my favorite words is supination. So I want kids with your notebooks real quick, write that down and just say that word whenever you're a little upset. Supination. Sorry, back to the action.
It's okay. It's a great word. So I think that's the problem. Like that's where we resonate with the parents. And so we ask questions that are different. Like James, when you threw that 55-mile-an-hour throw, I'm going to ask you, how did it feel?
Yeah.
Okay. And when I ask you how it feels, what we're going to do is we're going to say, James, I'm going to ask you when you come into the gym, right? Let's say you come in tomorrow. James, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel today? 1 being absolutely nothing wrong. 10 being I need to go to the hospital. How do you feel today?
Yeah, I'd say right now I'm feeling pretty good. So like maybe 2.
A 2?
Yeah.
So we're starting our throwing session at a 2. As we go through our throwing session, I might go, hey, how do you feel now? Maybe after 20 to 50 throws. Maybe more like, what, a 4 or 5? Okay, now we know that you're actually getting a little bit tired. Let's identify that. Let's go, hey, you're starting to get a little fatigued. Oh, and by the way, when we look at the radar gun, this is probably your 20th to 30th throw, right? I've noticed that your velo has actually gone down just a little bit. So it now tells me that I can go, okay, here's your warning. James, if you throw a ball under 50 miles an hour, I'll give you one shot after that 50-mile-an-hour throw to get above that range, okay? If you can't and it feels bad, then we're good today. We've accomplished what we needed by the amount of throws that we've gotten today and the amount of work we need to. We need to chill out. And here's what we're going to do now. We're not going to ice, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to do some of these exercises with these shoulders, with this tubing, with these weights, with these trampolines, with these stabilizers that are just going to, don't worry about what it does to your muscles. It basically just increases the blood flow directly to the area you just used. Give me about 5 minutes. You're going to feel a lot better than you did, okay? Mm-hmm. So once we have this strategy and it's not that big a deal, I foresee Tommy John's going down tremendously because in Southern California, we have people playing 45 weekends in a year. And it's like, if I played 7 games in a weekend, even right now at 34 years old, and I started the first game, my arm would fall off right away. Yeah. So I don't understand how this is even a real thing. Because, hey, the rest of the world does not play baseball like this. They don't play 7 games in a weekend, 5 games in a weekend. They play 2 times a week, 3 times a week.
Yep, it's true. So, I mean, overusage and just a lot of high leverage situations back to back with all these travel ball tournaments. It's a big issue, and we could talk about that forever. I want to back up for just a second because I know I have a lot of kiddos who really want to know how to warm up correctly. And I'll throw that to you. Just, I mean, for me, I start to talk about grip and the backspin and just get some backspin going, and then some nice easy tosses and move yourself back. But let's get specific. How should we be warming up, John?
I got an even better one for you. I love it. Okay,
love it.
So I like the fingers. The fingers idea to me, let's change it from warming up to calibrating, right? Because that makes more sense because we're shooting really when we're throwing. That's what we need to talk about.
Love
so
it.
We need to calibrate our gun so we know what accuracy is today. That has to happen every day. How's your first throw every day, James? Is it good or bad?
Oh man, it's usually pretty good. Yeah, I'm not. I don't. As long as I'm not trying to wing it really, really fast and just take that first one easy. It's pretty good.
Yeah, right? So you have a plan.
Yeah.
Right? But it sounds to me pretty good that it's not consistently pretty good. Sometimes it's not so good, right?
Yeah, especially when maybe I'm worried about the outcome or I'm trying to impress somebody or I'm just not in a good comfort zone. That's when I mess up.
What about when you miss your first throw? How does that affect the rest of your throwing?
Oh man, well then my mind is just playing games and I'm like, oh, I'm not confident. I got to slow it down and now everybody's laughing at me. So, I'm just playing mind games with myself.
100%. All right, so let's do this, James. I'm gonna show you and your guys how to warm up a little bit better right now, where we are right now. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to stand up for me, put the ball down, put the glove in your throwing hand, and I want you to grab the thumb. Of course, I don't have a glove here right now. The thumb of your glove. Grab the thumb of it in your throwing hand. Yep, right there. Perfect. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. Yep, so take the glove off. You're going to hold it in your throwing hand only. Okay? So if you've ever seen a big leaguer do glove throws, this is actually my idea of what weighted balls are. Okay? So with that glove in your hand, okay, it feels heavier than a baseball. We can calibrate the timing of our throw as well as the action of our throw without releasing the glove to make sure, one, we follow the good patterns that we know we need to get to in the positions that we are, and then two, we can actually do the throw and warm up the path, which looks like a fidget spinner. So here's what we got. Back up for me just a little bit, turn sideways. I want you to separate to that gun idea that we were talking about right there. So see how you went both hands down, right? There's the gun. Now all I want you to do is throw. Don't let go of the glove and finish loose with your arm dangling. But I want you to start off at like 20%, right? Yep, start off at the bottom. Now throw and don't let go. There you go. Now each throw, go a little bit faster.
Okay, that's maybe 40%.
Yeah, right? Now
that's about half speed.
Yep. Now start turning that back foot even faster now while you're throwing. Oh, there you go. Now see how much further you rotated?
Yeah. I'll be honest, I've never even thought about rotating this back foot or over rotating it at all.
It's why most Americans are arm side high.
Now, that's a good one right there. While I'm doing this, what is arm side high for my 8, 9, 10-year-olds?
Arm side high is a very common term for flying open, and it's describing directly where the location of the ball was that you were aiming. Most of the time, if you miss arm side and high, you were early in your release point, or something happened incorrectly in the sequential order of the body.
Yeah, possibly the head moved a little too much this way, and then the ball is screaming, I'm left behind, arm side high.
Who knows? There's a ton of possibilities and variables that go into why the ball went arm side high. But the easiest way to describe it is that you were early, right? The ball came out too soon, right? So I love your throwing motion in just a couple minutes. You calibrated the looseness of the throw right there. I really like those past 2 throws, right?
I also, for all of us that skipped calibration day at Brown University, explain that word, calibrate. Calibrate.
So calibration is like the idea of you're learning what is possible and how your gun works. And like if you have let's say you have a fighter pilot and you're shooting, at a jet in a video game, or you're playing Call of Duty, or you're aiming when you're throwing. Really, that's what it is. It's a fancy word for a hand-eye coordination system that goes from your hand to your eye to the chest of your partner, right? So when they say hit your partner in the chest, let's be more accurate at your chest. Let's say that's what it is, right? That's the idea. So every miss that you have, every throw that you have actually gives you information about what you did biomechanically based on how it felt, where it went, and how fast it was. And those are the 3 questions that we have our athletes ask each other or anybody after they throw one ball.
That's
right?
Good.
As soon as you throw a ball, you have to be able to evaluate it in your own language. So if you ask yourself those questions, well, normally if it didn't feel good, we don't want to do it that way, right? If it hurt, so I did something wrong, right? Rarely does it hurt. Pain reduces power. So if it feels good and it goes where it's supposed to and it was fast, what's the easiest thing to do on the next throw?
Repeat.
Yeah, do the same thing.
Yep, exactly. That's really good. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I'm really fascinated by this conversation. I always tell the kids the ball is a good listener. And there's a few certain checkpoints, few certain boxes you want to check to make sure the ball is listening to those body parts. We've talked about, keeping it pain-free and how to be healthy. We've talked about throwing the ball faster. At Cutter Nation, you throw it hard, you throw it straight, and you throw it pain-free. Let's just tap into a few big reasons, or maybe the most common reasons why we miss glove side. I see that miss a lot, especially at the younger ages. We've talked about the possibilities of being laid back here arm side, but let's talk glove side misses. Are there any common mistakes that we can watch out for when we miss glove side?
So I think you're talking about like spinning off or, missing, around the foot. So to our point, right, I'll say this. We want our guys to rotate to that side. So in our opinion, it gives you more room, like I just showed you, to decelerate. But what I think people miss it is the sticking of the front foot, right? And so if the front foot, there's kind of 2 balance points, right? There is actually 2 of them, right? But it's not exactly where I feel like people think it is. It's just about understanding how you transfer and stabilize the energy from one foot to the other, right? So if you are inconsistent with your release, and like what you showed me with that huge bent front leg, that doesn't really feel like a powerful, stable position for an athlete to be in. So that's the easiest way that I'll say it is you should probably just work on landing strong and balancing while you're throwing, right? And so trying to keep it simple and practice that idea. Here's a problem with where I see it for what you're saying. I don't think people practice throwing hard enough in the zone long enough, because that's the hardest thing to do. It is the hardest thing to do to peak power with peak perfect timing and peak accuracy. That's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a big.
Right?
It's definitely something. I'm loving the way you think as far as speeding up practice, and that way the game doesn't feel too fast as well. I mean, this is great for the mind and the body. But is there a drill that we could work on? Is there certain places that my guys could stop at, check the box off, and then throw the baseball where they can work on this specific skill?
Perfect. Yep, exactly. So it's called the K drill. You read my mind perfectly, right? So let's put you in the K drill right now. So you're going to stand on your back foot only. We're going to do the K drill without a ball, and we're going to do a dry throw with your glove, just like we had earlier. Okay?
Perfect.
So this is, in my opinion, this is a better version of the towel drill. We are not towel drill fans because the towel is actually not how you throw. When you make a towel whip, that's not exactly how you spin it effectively. So by having this heavier object in your hand, it actually makes it whip for you, which is actually what happens when you throw baseballs, okay? So here's the K drill. We're going to go into that gun position with our arms, and then we're going to stand on our back foot only. Why don't you turn sideways for me so everybody can see that? There we go. Good. Now all you're going to do is push off, let your foot hit, and then throw, and then balance on your front foot without your back foot hitting the ground. Go ahead.
Perfect. So I'm here. Let's do this in slow motion one time. I push. I throw.
Turn. Yep, you're just going to rotate all the way around. Let your back foot, so you're just shifting your weight from your back foot to your front foot, and then you're just balancing on your front foot, letting your back foot come around your body. Yep, just like that. So here's an easy concept to understand when you do it in real time, okay? In order to get to that maximum rotation where I showed you where your hips and shoulders go to, there's an easy concept for us to understand. When your front foot hits in the ground, where your internal side, which is your throwing side, which is the side you rotate on, there's lava over there, okay? On the other side, there's some land, okay? So we need to balance on our front foot and not step in lava. Okay?
Gotcha. Lava is on the inside, good stuff over here on the outside. And I got to be honest, and this is something I'm sure a lot of my kids haven't ever heard before because, I mean, you're always hearing about that glove needs to stay in front because you're going to fall over to the side. So I mean, I love how I'm learning some brand new stuff here. So I want to make sure that I start here at my gun, and then I go from here, boom, and I'm there.
That's all good, right? So, okay, so look at your weight distribution right there. You did not balance on your front leg. You shifted to catch yourself on your back leg. So let's think about it like tetherball, right? That front leg is your tetherball pole. So when you hit, if it slides forward, your rotation will decrease because you've gone too far. So getting over your front side does not allow you to rotate. So it's the combination of both.
Right.
So this is where I can simply explain it where, hey man, just don't step in the lava.
Yeah.
Just stop your rotation.
Exactly.
Go to the land. So James, let's have you do a real-time throw in the K drill and see how you can do it. All you got to do is balance on your front leg.
Yep.
Look at that. Right? And even then, right, you kept your back foot up in the air, but how hard was that to do?
Right. I mean, it was kind of like trying to do two things at once. I'm trying to throw the baseball hard, right, and really use this front leg, but at the same time, I'm trying to put the brakes on this so it's not just spinning too fast.
So why wouldn't you want that, James? Why wouldn't you want your backside to come around?
Well, I want to make sure that I'm not going too fast, so I just push it with my arm. I want to actually use this thing, right?
You did. You're already rotating good there. Just keep going. Put your foot on the land. You don't need to stop it, right? Come to a gradual deceleration and just let your foot come down just like that. That's a controlled body movement inside your deceleration pattern, which increases consistency and accuracy.
I love it. So how long should I be holding myself up with that front leg before this thing? I guess I'm trying to figure out what's too early and too weak and what's too long.
So you'll feel it, right? And here's where the way I like to do it. I like to come all the way down after the guy has caught the ball or it's hit the target, and very carefully just control, put my foot down on land. Yep.
So I'm not hammering that back foot home.
Well, think about it, right? If you pull off too hard, like you're talking about, and you go over there and catch yourself, K-Rod style, what are the odds you hit your release point in the area that you were supposed to, right? And where was K-Rod all the time? Arm side high, like we said, right? And so, understanding what the stick is and being able to have these two balance points where the back leg is the drive power generator, the front leg is the transmission, but also the stabilizer to allow the shoulders and the hips to rotate around the front hip. And the faster that happens, the faster you throw.
That's great. What I'm learning from you is for pain-free, for a healthy arm, we've got to have that range of motion to be able to flow this way with that arm. But at the same time, for accuracy, we've got to be able to hold on to this line for as long as.
If you look at most pitchers, their head is not directly over their toe at release. It's actually outside of their toe, right? Because of their rotating that way. Right? So it's really what we're looking at in the relationship. It's hard to see camera angles of someone throwing at you, but you can see it when someone's throwing at you. If they hold that position or that head slightly outside that foot and they rotate all the way around, they'll stay in that spot, just like you did just a second ago.
It's nice. It's good stuff, man. Really good stuff. I want to give the kiddos any questions they might have before we hit the road here. If you guys have any questions on pitching, on keeping your arm healthy, how to throw it harder, how to throw it straighter. You've got John, you've got Coach Ballgame here with Cutter Nation. This is cool, man. Good stuff from Sammy. Thanks for tuning in. I love following you on Instagram and watching the videos of these guys throwing at 105. And I mean, it's pretty.
Wait till, that wasn't my facility, but wait till we get. If you like that now, we stream everything. We stream, especially in this time frame of what's going on with the weirdness. We actually are going to set up a GoPro that's going to stream through YouTube or through Twitch, so the parents don't have to leave the car, so they can watch the radar guns, everything. They get it's like they're there. Probably a better angle as if they were on the side. They get to see the accuracy of all the throws, watch the training session, and enjoy it in a safe environment. So we try to be full transparency, and that's one of the reasons why we use the Pitch Logic ball. It's one of my favorite tools for athletes, and you can't speak highly enough on the sooner you can get kids to start actually thinking about spin efficiency, which is really just spinning it correctly and being accurate, right? You don't have to make it any more complicated than it is. But with technology like this and how easy it is for we have 10-year-olds that use it that are just unreal with their pitching and their understanding of what they're trying to do. So it's an exciting time to be in, even as crazy as it is. Like it is very fun to watch how technology is blending into the baseball world, especially at the consumer level.
That's right. I mean, you got to stay creative, coaching-wise and player-wise. Here's a question on that point from Sammy Hinton. Best way to stay strong without any gyms open. What are your guys working?
So we're an arm care every day kind of organization that does a lot of mobility, which is really just range of motion stretching. I think that a lot of these big words get kids confused. But I will say this, getting stronger is just an idea that you confine yourself in a weight room. It doesn't mean that strength is only as good as if it's applied to the idea that you're trying to apply it on. So being strong is a weird question because I don't care how much you curl. You know what I mean? And what I care about is how you're evaluated, right? So here's what I'll say. If you want to get strong, right, and right now, and you don't feel like you can do it in the gym, you need to change your focus to another level of strength. I'll say this. Koreans throw 300 pitch bullpens on purpose. They don't start there. They have to work their way up to that idea, right? It's a rite of passage to their major leagues when they get to that idea.
Right.
So, your strength idea is correct in trying to get better, but you could get a stronger arm by throwing more. You could swing more on the tee at more max effort to have a faster bat speed and then apply from there. You know, there's a lot of things that you could run more sprints uphill so you become faster. I think that breaking it down to the most fundamental tools of the game, you know, speed, power, hand-eye coordination, arm, accuracy, breaking those down to the fundamental level, hand-eye coordination, quickness, stamina, consistency, intelligence. Like, I feel like there's too many versions of this game to be played that you can't find something to do.
It's good. We'll leave you with this. You've got the floor on my 8, my 9, my 10, my 11, my 12-year-olds. This will be our closing comment here. You've got 2 minutes and one thing to tell a group of young pitchers. Go. What are you telling that group?
Anybody can throw 90 miles an hour. It's when. It's not if. This is not the game. It's been done too many times. It's not a rubber arm genetic thing. It's not a thing. If it was a thing, then the line would not keep getting moved forward, right? There would always be 50 people who throw 100. That's it. No, this past year there were more guys that threw 100 in spring training than ever in the history of the game. So these records are being broken. If you don't understand how you're being evaluated as far as what actually is success, right? Because there's 2 different versions of that, then you need to understand that there are 2 totally different versions of this game of baseball, of what we call it. There's the game you try to win, and then there's the skills that you are trying to be evaluated on. And you need to understand that those are different things.
It's great. Hey, let's go round of applause for John from Cutter Nation. And how about an attaboy on 3? 1, 2, 3, attaboy. Thanks for taking your time and joining our Sandlot, man. We appreciate your knowledge, and I know I filled up my notebook with some great stuff. So right on, man. You'll have to do some trivia with me sometime down the road. I'm always rocking the baseball trivia. So
I was late on that. Like, I was so upset that I understood that it was a internet router issue. Like, I got all the answers, but I'm like 8 deep. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
There you go. Apparently, yeah, these guys, they got the high-speed internet, but you get on there and you'll be good. Trying to get the 10-year-old to focus on accuracy instead of speed. Any quick advice for the real J-Real?
J-Real, you missed about 10 minutes ago when I did this exact answer. But I'll tell you this, that's one thing. It's one thing. It's not different. There are no, it's what you throw is what you throw, and it's the accuracy. So if you just think about the idea of throwing fast and understand that you're going to miss because you're probably moving faster than you ever have, the more that you do it, the more comfortable you will get inside of doing it.
It's good, man. Good stuff, and I love the outside the grain approach you have too. Yeah, this is I try to do it the same way, not on purpose, but I'm always trying to tap into different ways of teaching and coaching, and you've definitely tapped into a little outside the box thinking that is working, and that's what I like. So, round of applause to you, man.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I played 6 years professionally in Mexico, and I saw a 12-year-old throw 90 miles an hour, and it completely changed the way that I thought about training, especially after talking to some of those trainers and seeing how they have a whole ecosystem of how they go about it. You know, in Mexico, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, they don't play 3 sports. Their other sports are their conditioning, which is like the best. That's what you want. Like, I don't want to play basketball to be the best at basketball. I want to play basketball because I know it's going to make me a better athlete and it's going to be fun. Does that have to be organized? No, it doesn't. Yep. No, it doesn't.
It's good.
So, that's just because I'm biased to baseball and that's all I've ever wanted to do. And like I said at the beginning of this, I just want to create something that I know I wish I had. Because if I had radar guns every day when I was throwing, oh my God. Right?
It would be a real life video game every day.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. So
awesome, man. Well, keep up the great work and stay in touch, man.
I appreciate it, James. Thanks. You're the best. Keep doing what you're doing. Everybody listen to him. You know, he's putting out great quality, you know, entertainment and content. And that's, you know, I've leaned on the content in any time of need, either myself or with whatever. And I feel like, you know, as the baseballologist says, the community of baseball is thriving for people to help. And it always seems like that. So, you know, if anybody's putting out good quality, positive content, I am a fan. I am in. I don't want to ruffle feathers to the point where, like I've had to in the past, explain to people, well, if you don't believe me, let's play catch. Because I'm 34 and I'm still low 90s with a broken elbow and 2 pieces of hardware in it. So it is what it is, you know?
Hey, man. Thank you so much, brother. Keep it going, and attaboy.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks, James.
See you, everybody. Have a great day. We got trivia starting at 5 and then another one at 6. So we've got the winner from last week, Andrew Philocoma, at 5, and Chase Darno, the former Pirate and Giant and Brave, at 6. So trivia time, prizes, attaboy.
Hey, good luck, guys. Good luck.
See you, buddy.
Thanks.
During this coronavirus, and hi everybody, I hope you're doing good during this coronavirus, and maybe we can come to your house